Hi, welcome to another instructional video. Today we're going to show you how to set up your journey enclosure. Now this enclosure comes in three sizes, a 3x3, a 5x9, and a 10x9. We're going to show the assembly process for the 3x3 as well as the 5x9. There's a little bit difference in terms of setting up in regards to the door, so we'll show you those steps along the way. It is a very simple process, so let's get started. Now, all three sizes of the journey enclosures utilize 3-foot journey walls. 3 for the 3x3 foot and 5 for the 5x9 and the 10x9. Go ahead and start piecing together these 3-foot walls. And once you get to that last one, you're going to incorporate the door lock extender piece. Once you have gotten down to that last 3-foot journey wall to set up for your enclosure, you're now going to swap out one of the extender pieces with the lock piece. Here's a quick breakdown on the difference of the lock extender pieces between the 3-foot by 3-foot journey enclosure and the larger 5x9 and 10x9 journey enclosure. Now both these lock extender pieces will be part of your 3-foot journey walls that you have been setting up, and they will run adjacent to the door of the enclosure. However, for the 3-foot by 3-foot, the lock piece will be perpendicular to the door, and for the larger 5x9 and 10x9, the lock piece on the 3-foot wall will be parallel to the door. You can now go ahead and assemble the door frame. Notice that the labels on the door frame specifically will be labeled accordingly, and the top and bottom of the frame will include components that fit into the door threshold. One of the extender pieces will include this hatch that then the lock slides through. So for the smaller 3-foot by 3-foot journey enclosure, here's a 3-foot journey wall that will be perpendicular to the door because the door lock extender piece faces on the side of the journey wall. So when we set it up, it will be positioned as such that then the door will be perpendicular to the 3-foot wall and the lock will then be able to go in the hatch. Now for the larger 5x9 and 10x9 journey enclosures, here's the hardware for a 3-foot journey wall that will run parallel to the door because that door lock extender piece will be facing the front side of the 3-foot wall so that the lock can then be placed into the hatch as such. Now if you have the larger 5x9 or 10x9 journey enclosures, go ahead and put together those 5-foot journey walls. You'll have 2 for the 5x9, for those 2 5-foot walls that stand opposite one another, and 4 for the 10x9. 2 5-foot walls will be linked together via the 180-degree connector to create a 10-foot wall that both of those will stand opposite one another. So now that the interior and exterior graphics are installed to the individual frames, you can now go ahead and start piecing together the enclosure itself utilizing the necessary connectors. So 90-degree connectors are used on the back wall portion of your journey enclosure. Go ahead and attach the corner stabilizers in the corners of your journey enclosure. They just snap on top of the journey walls. Next, you can lay down the door thresholds. So lay down the bottom and place this bottom peg into the bottom of the journey display. With the bottom threshold now in place, go ahead and begin putting the door in. Identify the hole on the bottom of the door frame, and you're going to place it into the exposed peg on that threshold. Now go ahead and install that top threshold. Again, line up the pegs on either side of the journey walls for the enclosure, and then line up that other hinge peg to go into the hole on top of the door. Now that's the process for the 3 foot by 3 foot journey enclosure. Now for the larger enclosures, the 5x9 and the 10x9, you need to create your 9 foot long back wall by linking together 3 foot journey walls. Once you have the interior gray panels installed, you're going to utilize the 180-degree connector to link the 3 foot walls together. As well as utilizing the 180-degree connector foot. Likewise, if you have the largest enclosure size, the 10x9, you're going to create those 10-foot long walls utilizing the 180-degree connector and the 180-degree connector foot to bring together 2 5-foot frames. At this point, for these larger enclosures, you're now going to utilize the 90-degree connectors to start building out that structure, right? So you're going to do it on the top and bottom corners, starting from that 9 foot long back wall and building forward. For the purposes of this video, we're demonstrating with a 5x9, but the exact same process applies for the 10x9. Now start building out that front end of the enclosure. You're gonna have 2 3 foot journey walls on either side, and that door will be in the middle. Again, utilizing the 90-degree connectors on the top and bottom corners. Now that we have the 2 3 foot frames installed on either side of the front of the enclosure, it's now time to install that door. So you're going to install the bottom and top threshold and affix that door within the hinge system. Going to line up the hole on the bottom of the frame to the bottom hinge peg of that door threshold. Now go ahead and install that top threshold. So with the door threshold installed, you can go ahead and install those corner stabilizers, and you're now ready to utilize any size of your journey enclosure.